I thought I had a solid marriage. 9 years in, no major fights, no scandals, just the slow, comfortable rhythm of two people building a life together. But then, small things started to shift. Little behaviors that didn't make sense. At first, I told myself I was imagining it until the night everything cracked wide open. What I found out not only destroyed my trust, it made me question if I ever really knew the woman I married.
To protect the privacy of the author and narrator, all names and locations are fictional, and the voice has been intentionally modified.
Throwaway account for obvious reasons. I've been lurking here for a while, reading stories and thinking, damn, I feel for that guy, but that'll never be me. Well, here I am now, writing one of those stories I used to scroll past while sipping coffee, feeling grateful for my stables marriage. We've been married for 9 years. Together for 11. No kids, not by choice, but due to fertility issues on both sides. That's been a tough road, but we stuck it out, or so I thought. We met in grad school. I was studying mechanical engineering, she was in clinical psychology. She was charismatic, passionate, sharp, you know, the kind of person who walks into a room and immediately commands attention. I used to love that about her. Our early years were great, cliché even. Road trips. Late-night conversations. Shared dreams. She challenged me, in a good way, or maybe that's what I told myself. But over the past year, something changed. I couldn't put my finger on it at first. It was subtle. She started working late more often. Not every night, just enough for me to notice. Her phone became a permanent fixture in her hand, always face down, always locked. She used to tell me every random thought in her head, but now? Now I'd ask how her day went and get, it was fine, followed by her disappearing into the bathroom for half an hour. She also got oddly critical. About small things. My cooking suddenly wasn't seasoned enough. My stories at dinner were too long. She'd roll her eyes when I made jokes she used to laugh at. I chalked it up to stress. She'd recently started a new position at the practice where she worked, more clients, more responsibility. I told myself, don't be insecure. She's just tired. Don't be that husband. But then, things escalated. She started guarding her phone like it was a nuclear launch device. One time I walked into the room and she jumped like I'd caught her mid-crime, just from looking over her shoulder. That's when the seed of doubt really took root. Still, I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I'm not the jealous type. Or at least I wasn't. I wish I'd listened to that little voice in my gut sooner. It was a Thursday night when the dam finally cracked. She said she was going out for wine and venting with her friend Rachel, someone she's known since undergrad. No big deal. They did that from time to time, and I honestly welcomed the quiet evening alone. I ordered takeout, started a movie, and tried to shake the weird feeling I'd had all week, like something was just off. About an hour in, I remembered that Rachel's husband, Ben, had mentioned during a barbecue a few weeks back that Rachel was flying out to visit her sister this month. I wasn't sure of the dates, but I figured I'd scroll through Instagram to check. Rachel's always posting. Sure enough, there she was, tagged at a seafood place in Florida. Smiling. Sun-drenched. Very much not at a wine bar in our city. My stomach dropped. I sat there staring at the screen, half hoping there was an explanation. Maybe my wife got the name wrong. Maybe Rachel came back early? But no. The post was from 2 hours ago. Live story video. No ambiguity. I didn't want to jump to the worst-case scenario, so I waited. Waited until my wife came home around 11:15 p.m., flushed and giggly, smelling like expensive cologne I don't wear. When I casually asked how Rachel was doing, she said, same old Rachel. Still hates her boss. Still drinks too much Merlot. I just nodded. Didn't say a word. Not yet. But in that moment, I knew. It was like a switch flipped. The confusion, the doubt, it all turned into one icy, steady resolve. She was lying. And I was going to find out just how deep that lie went. I didn't sleep that night. Not really. I lay there in bed next to her, listening to her breathe, wondering how many other lies she'd told with that same casual voice. The next morning, while she was in the shower, I did something I never thought I'd do in my life. I went through her phone. It wasn't easy, she had a new passcode. But here's the twist, I'm an engineer, and I pay attention. I'd seen her type it a few times, just in passing. Muscle memory kicked in. 0923, her mom's birthday. She always hated how predictable her mom was. Guess the apple doesn't fall far. Once I was in, I didn't know where to start. Texts. Emails? Photos? My hands were shaking, but I zeroed in on her messages. Nothing with Rachel, cleared out. Too clean. But then I saw the name Daniel, office, just like that, with the parentheses. Looked professional enough. I wouldn't have noticed it before. But the messages? Anything but professional. They weren't overtly sexual, but they were charged. Flirty. Private. One from 3 nights ago. I can't stop thinking about last weekend. Still feels like you're under my skin. Another? He has no idea, and I honestly don't feel guilty anymore. Is that messed up? That one hit like a truck. I scrolled up. Months of messages. References to hotel nights, inside jokes, coded emojis. There were no nudes, no explicit language, she was too smart for that. But the intent was clear. And then I saw the last one she sent the night before, right before walking into our house and lying to my face. Made up a Rachel excuse again. I hate this part. Wish we could just be done with the hiding. My heart pounded so loud I could barely read. My mouth went dry. I suddenly realized I had to put the phone back before she noticed. She walked out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel, humming to herself. She kissed my cheek on the way to the closet like nothing was wrong. Like she didn't just emotionally gut me. I smiled. I kissed her forehead. And in my head, I began planning the confrontation. I didn't confront her right away. I needed time. I needed control. For 2 days, I acted like everything was normal. I smiled. I made dinner. I kissed her goodnight. But inside, I was rehearsing every word I was going to say. I've never been a dramatic guy, not the type to yell or break things. I wanted her to talk, not shut down. So, I picked a quiet Sunday afternoon. No distractions. No chance for her to run. I waited until she sat down on the couch with her tea, scrolling on her phone, legs tucked under a blanket like it was any other cozy weekend. "Hey," I said. "Can we talk?" She looked up, instantly on alert. "Sure. What's up?" I took a breath. "I know about Daniel." She blinked once. Her lips parted, then closed. Then came the tilt of her head, the innocent confusion act. "Daniel, from the office." "Yeah. That Daniel. The one you've been sneaking around with. The one you can't stop thinking about. The one who knows you lied to me about seeing Rachel last Thursday." Her expression didn't change at first. Then, and this is what still burns, she smiled. Just a twitch, but it was there. "You went through my phone," she said, not with anger, with disappointment, like I was a kid who got caught peeking at Christmas presents. "Yeah," I replied. "And I regret waiting so long to do it." She sighed. Actually sighed, like I was being unreasonable. Then the excuses started pouring out like she'd rehearsed them. "It's not what you think. We were just talking, I needed someone to vent to. You've been distant lately." I felt alone. It wasn't physical. "That last one?" I almost laughed. "Then what's with the hotel nights? The under my skin texts? The lies about Rachel?" She didn't answer. Just looked away. For the first time, she seemed small. cornered, but still defiant. She said, "I didn't mean for it to happen. I never wanted to hurt you." Classic line. I asked her one question, calmly, "How long?" Her answer? 7 months. 7 months. Not a slip. Not a drunken mistake. Not one terrible decision. This was a second life. And in that moment, something inside me broke, not in an explosive way. Quietly. A kind of emotional shattering that doesn't make noise but leaves you hollow. After she admitted it had been going on for 7 months, I just sat there. Not moving. Not speaking. I think I scared her a little, honestly. I wasn't yelling, wasn't crying, wasn't giving her anything. Just silence. She started filling it. Look, it was never serious. I mean, I thought it was for a while, but he's going through his own stuff. It was just an escape. That word, escape, hit me harder than anything else. So that's what I'd become? A prison? A weight? The life she needed to get away from? I asked her, if I hadn't caught you, would it have ended? She hesitated. That was my answer. Then she tried the sympathy card. Said she was confused. Said she still loved me. Said we could go to therapy, figure it out, start fresh. That it wasn't too late. But the thing is, the power dynamic had already shifted. She realized it too. Her eyes were darting around, searching for the right angle. She wasn't crying. She wasn't remorseful. She was calculating. Like a politician caught on a hot mic, scrambling to control the fallout. I looked her in the eye and said, "You need to leave. Today." Her whole face changed. "What? You're kicking me out of our house?" "No," I replied. "I'm kicking you out of my trust. My peace. My dignity. This house? That can be sorted later. But for now, I can't breathe with you in it." She stood up, stunned. Tried to talk over me, tried to guilt-trip me. Where am I supposed to go? "You're overreacting. We've built a life together." But I didn't flinch. I didn't shout. I just stood up, handed her the bag I had already packed for her, clothes, essentials, and opened the door. I'd never felt stronger in my life. When the door closed behind her, I just stood there. It wasn't triumphant. It wasn't cinematic. It was quiet. Like the moment after a power outage, everything still, unfamiliar. I half expected her to knock again. To scream. To cry. To fight for us, even in a twisted way. But nothing. She left like a ghost. I sank into the couch. My body felt heavy, like I'd been carrying weights for months without realizing. The silence, once so eerie, started to feel clean. Pure. Like oxygen returning to a suffocating room. But then the grief hit. All the years we'd spent together, the memories, the plans, they started flashing in my head like a cruel slideshow. Our wedding. That night we danced barefoot in the kitchen. The time we stayed up until 4 a.m. laughing about nothing. It all felt stolen now. Not memories, but props in some kind of emotional con job. I wanted to text her. I wanted to scream. I wanted to crawl into bed and sleep until this version of reality stopped existing. Instead, I called my brother. Told him everything. I don't know why, but I needed someone to witness it. To say, yeah, that happened. You're not losing your mind. He came over within 30 minutes, didn't ask a single unnecessary question. Just sat next to me while I talked, sometimes in sentences, sometimes just broken fragments. It was the first moment I realized I'm not alone. I lost my wife. But I didn't lose everyone. And that distinction? It mattered more than I expected. The next morning, she texted me. "Can we talk? Please?" I wasn't ready for this to unravel like that. Unravel. Like it was a loose thread that just got tugged too far. Not a deliberate betrayal. Not 7 months of deception. I didn't respond. Instead, I reached out to Rachel. The real Rachel, the one who'd been tanning in Florida while apparently covering for my wife's late-night hotel escapades. We weren't especially close, but we'd shared enough barbecues and birthdays that it wouldn't be weird to contact her. I kept it short. Hey, hope you don't mind me asking, but has my wife, ever asked you to cover for her? I just need to know the truth. Rachel called me 5 minutes later. Not texted, called. She didn't even hesitate. Said she was afraid this would happen. That she hadn't seen my wife in months. That she had no idea she was being used as an excuse until Ben saw a call log on our shared photo album and casually mentioned it. Then Rachel dropped a bomb. She wasn't just seeing Daniel. I swear my vision went white for a second. What do you mean? I asked, barely able to get the words out. She mentioned someone named Tyler once. I don't know details, but I don't think Daniel was the only one. I honestly thought you guys had some kind of arrangement. An open thing. She made it sound like you were cool with it. Cool with it. She'd been using me not just as a blind husband, but as permission. Painting me as the checked-out spouse while she used my silence as license to cheat more freely. The betrayal doubled in weight. It wasn't just the act, it was the narrative she built around it. She didn't just lie to me. She lied about me. And that changed everything. I didn't just feel hurt anymore. I felt erased. I stared at my phone for a long time after talking to Rachel. It felt like my entire marriage was being rewritten in real time, not a love story, but a slow-motion con. Once the shock wore off, I texted my wife one line. How many were there? She didn't reply for almost an hour. When she finally did, it was just, "Can we talk in person?" No apology. No answer. No honesty, just another attempt to control the narrative. To reset the board so she could make her next move. I didn't take the bait. Instead, I did something I never thought I'd do. I called Daniel. I debated it. A lot. But I had his number, I'd seen it in the phone logs, and I needed to hear it from him. Maybe it was masochistic. Maybe I was chasing clarity in the ugliest place possible. He sounded surprised when I introduced myself. Quiet for a few seconds. Then, yeah, I guess this was bound to happen. That alone told me enough. I asked him straight up, "Did you know she was married?" He sighed. "She said you guys were basically done. That you were sleeping in separate rooms, talking divorce. And you believed her?" I wanted to. She made it easy to believe. There it was again, her favorite strategy, partial truths twisted into convenient fiction. Technically, we had been distant. But separate rooms? Divorce talks? Never. Then Daniel added, "Look, man. I didn't know about anyone else. But I had a feeling. She always had a story, always a reason to leave right after. She was using him too." He sounded embarrassed. Maybe even a little used himself. I didn't pity him, but I saw the bigger picture. She didn't just lie to me. She lied to everyone. Manipulation wasn't her slip-up. It was her method. I hung up feeling strangely calm, like seeing the full scope of the damage let me finally stop hoping it wasn't that bad. It was that bad. Worse. The next few days blurred together. It's funny how life keeps moving even when your world collapses. You still have to take out the trash. Feed the dog. Respond to work emails. Buy toilet paper. I remember standing in the middle of a grocery store, holding a jar of pasta sauce, and just zoning out. Like my brain physically rejected the idea of normal. One woman bumped into me and apologized, and I almost broke down right there in the canned goods aisle. Not because of the bump. Just because she was kind. I hadn't seen kindness in days. Not from her. Not from myself. I didn't cry at first. That surprised me. What came instead was rage, slow burning, cold rage. The kind that makes your teeth clench in your sleep. That fills your chest when you remember every time she made me feel guilty. Every time she twisted a situation to make herself the victim. Like when she said I was being distant. Like when she told me I was too boring to go out with her friends. Like when she rolled her eyes at me for asking about her day, or for not being spontaneous anymore. It wasn't just betrayal. It was gaslighting, systematic, layered lies designed to make me question my own instincts. I started journaling. Not for some deep therapeutic reason, just because I needed to put it somewhere. The pain. The confusion. The need to scream. I'd write things like, how can someone pretend to love you while building a life behind your back? Was I just convenient? Did she ever love me at all? And sometimes just? Why? There are no neat answers to that one. Not really. But the more I wrote, the less those questions haunted me. Because eventually I realized it wasn't my brokenness that caused this. It was hers. About a week after I kicked her out, she showed up at the house. No warning. No text. Just a knock on the door like we were still some normal couple who had fights and made up over dinner. I didn't answer at first. Just stood behind the door, listening. She knocked again, softer this time. Then her voice. Please, can we talk? I opened the door partway. She looked awful. Dark circles under her eyes. No makeup. Wearing a hoodie that used to be mine. I don't know who you are anymore, I said. What do you want? She stepped forward slightly, but I didn't move. She got the message. I messed up. I know I did. I was scared. Things between us felt dead. And I didn't know how to say it. So I ran from it. Into something else. Someone else. I stared at her. Someone? You mean Daniel? Or Tyler? Or whoever else you used? Her eyes widened, like she didn't expect me to know. That's when I saw the panic. The cracks in her performance. I can change, she said quickly. I'll go to therapy. Couples counseling. I already looked up places. I'm not saying we can fix this overnight, but maybe we can find a way back. I asked her, why now? Because the lies stopped working? Because Daniel didn't want to play house with someone else's wife. She didn't answer. Because I already knew. She wasn't here for me. She was here because her safety net collapsed. She wanted back into the life she'd abandoned, the life I built, because it was the most stable option left. That wasn't love. That was survival. I told her she had 10 minutes to grab whatever else she needed from the house. Clothes. Documents. Whatever. Then she was leaving, and we'd be talking through lawyers going forward. She didn't cry. Didn't yell. Just walked inside with that same eerie calm she used to lie to my face for months. She left the way she came. Quiet. Empty-handed. After she left for the last time, the real unraveling began. People started noticing. Friends. Family. Mutuals. At first, I kept things vague. We're going through something. Taking space. But that didn't hold long. Word spreads, especially when you're not the one controlling the story. I started getting texts from her friends. Not our friends, hers. Most were polite, but some were loaded. Hey, I know you and wife are going through a rough patch, just wanted you to know she's trying. It's never black and white. You were distant for a long time. That one especially pissed me off. Distant? Distant because I trusted her. Because I gave her space to grow in her career. Because I thought love meant not micromanaging your partner like a child. Then there were the neutral ones. The I don't want to take sides, but crowd. Let me tell you, neutrality in betrayal is just polished cowardice. If someone cheats and you stay neutral, you're not balanced, you're enabling. But the real gut punch came from her mom. She called me, sobbing. Told me she didn't raise her daughter to be this way. That she felt ashamed. That she knew something was wrong but didn't want to pry. Said, I always thought you were too good for her. I just didn't want to say it. I didn't know what to say back. I just listened. And for a weird, twisted moment, I felt bad for her. Because now she had to live with what her daughter became, and worse, how convincingly she wore a mask for everyone. My own family was more straightforward. My mom wanted blood. My dad offered to help with the divorce lawyer. My sister baked me a lasagna and left it on my porch with a post-it note that said, next one will be poisoned if she comes back. Dark humor. My family's coping style. God bless them. But what struck me most was how quickly the truth restructured everything. People chose sides, or didn't. Masks slipped. Hidden loyalties surfaced. The life I thought we built together? It wasn't just fractured. It was fabricated. A couple of weeks passed. The paperwork had started. My lawyer, a quiet bulldog of a man, told me not to communicate with her directly anymore. No texts. No calls. No emails. If she wants to talk, she can talk through me. That was fine by me. I had nothing left to say. But closure? That elusive, perfect word people toss around in breakup quotes and bad rom-coms? It never really showed up. Not the way I imagined. See, I used to think closure meant answers. A sit-down moment where the betrayer spills the why, the how, the what they were thinking. A chance to package all that pain into something understandable. Neat. Digestible. Instead, I got fragments. A friend who said she was jealous of me before we even got married. A coworker of hers who hinted she always flirted a little too hard. A half-hearted voicemail she left 2 nights after she picked up her last box, where she said, I don't know why I do the things I do. That was it. That was her explanation. I don't know. I used to think that would drive me crazy. But the longer I sat with it, the more I realized she really doesn't. She's not some master manipulator with a grand plan. She's just broken in ways I didn't see. Or worse, did see, and ignored. I gave her the benefit of the doubt so many times, I stopped noticing the bill it was racking up against my own self-worth. And that's what closure really became. Not answers. Not apologies. But understanding that I didn't need either to move on. It's amazing how quiet a house can get after someone leaves, not just physically, but energetically. At first, it was unbearable. Every room echoed with what used to be her voice, her laughter, even our arguments. It was like she still existed in the walls. But slowly, things started to change. Not dramatically, just small, almost imperceptible shifts. I rearranged the furniture in the living room. Donated the throw pillows she picked out. Deleted our shared Spotify playlists. Started cooking again, not for 2, just for me, but with intention. With care. I wasn't trying to erase her. I was reclaiming me. For a while, I couldn't even look at photos of us. Every smile felt like a lie in retrospect. But then I realized not everything was fake. I loved her. That part was real. The problem was I was the only one playing honestly. And that's not something to be ashamed of. That's something to be proud of. I started seeing a therapist. Best decision I've made in years. Not just to process the betrayal, but to understand why I tolerated certain things for so long. The red flags I explained away. The gut instincts I suppressed. The off feelings I labeled as insecurity instead of intuition. And you know what I learned? I'm not broken. I'm not stupid. I'm not weak. I'm just human. I loved someone who didn't deserve the version of me I gave her, but that doesn't make me foolish. It makes me free. One of the hardest things to kill after betrayal isn't love. It's the what ifs. What if I'd paid more attention? What if I'd asked more questions? What if we'd gone to therapy earlier? What if I had just been better, stronger, more romantic, more exciting? It's a dangerous loop, and for a while, I was stuck in it. Walking the halls of my own mind like a haunted house, looking for the moment everything broke. Trying to figure out what I could have done differently. But here's the truth I came to, and it didn't come easy. You can't fix someone who's lying about being broken. I didn't fail her. She failed me. Not because she was flawed, but because she chose to lie. To manipulate. To weaponize trust. She chose silence when she could have chosen honesty. She chose affairs when she could have chosen effort. She chose to exit the relationship without the courage to use the door. And I'm done carrying her choices like they're mine. There is freedom in letting go of the what ifs. There is power in saying, I showed up. She didn't. It's not my job to rewrite the past into a version that hurts less. It's my job to live better moving forward, smarter, more awake, and more loyal to myself than I ever was to someone who didn't earn it. If you've made it this far, thank you. Really. Writing this has been therapy in its own way, but knowing people might read it, might see themselves in it, somehow makes the pain feel a little less wasted. So here it is. The final part. The reflection. What I've learned. Listen to your gut. If something feels off, it is. Don't explain it away. Don't rationalize for someone else's comfort. Trust that quiet voice. Love doesn't excuse deception. You can love someone deeply and still not be safe with them. Love is not a hall pass for betrayal. Don't romanticize pain just because you've built history together. Boundaries aren't threats, they're protection. I used to think setting hard boundaries meant I wasn't being forgiving or open-minded. Now I realize it's how you preserve your sanity, your dignity, and your soul. If they lie once, they'll lie again, and better. People don't just stumble into double lives. They build them. They practice. They refine their stories. If someone shows you they're willing to manipulate the truth for comfort, believe them. Your healing is not their responsibility. Waiting for an apology, an explanation, a breakdown of why, it's a trap. Closure comes when you decide you're done bleeding for someone who cut you and walked away. My advice? Don't waste your time trying to rescue someone who burned the house down and handed you the matches like it was your fault. You deserve love that doesn't come with secrecy. You deserve peace that doesn't require pretending. You deserve to be chosen, not as a backup plan or an emotional crutch, but fully, completely, without manipulation. I'm not bitter. I'm awake now. And if this happened to you, or is happening, just know. It's not the end of your story. It's just the end of a chapter where you were written by someone else's lies. You get to pick up the pen now. Write something real. Write you. OP, but getting used to just being me again. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new stories.